I think that the future of AI is most likely going to be related to cross-platform development. I feel that on the one hand, RAG is very likely to become more powerful in the future. We've seen already some significant improvement by having different embedding techniques. I feel my best advice there is to, one, be very clear on what you are going to do, play your strengths and play your cards there really well so that you know that you will be in your comfort zone basically, or working with something that you feel very confident with. Something that is extremely important or extremely helpful is to have a community around people that you can go to, people that trust you, people that know you, and people that you can ask questions to, and just have them as resources or sparring partners.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Top Mentor podcast, and today we have a special guest today who is David Lara. He's a chief data scientist and he's an expert on a lot of topics related to AI and leadership, and also, of course, data itself. So welcome, David.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. We've been talking a few times since we both are on the Spanish talker, so
yes.
Makes the communication a little bit easier. But today we do this edition in English, and David is an expert in all related to data, and he's been working on that field for some time, and we will dive deeper into that later. But so since you have knowledge and experience in areas related to AI, and since this is a topic that is kind of trendy right now, but I want to dive more on the technical side rather than all the boom that on the Gen AI and the capabilities that it has. We know that it has a lot. Like, on your technical perspective and aiming to the future, what do you see in the next few years will be the evolution of the AI, as we know, more on the other topics, but in this case, Gen AI and LLMs in specific? And, how do you see this evolving for big companies and the ecosystem itself?
Okay, no, that's an excellent question, Victor. And once again, thank you for having me here. And happy to dive on this in this topic, as you mentioned. And I think there are many things to bring up in this respect. So first, I think that the future of AI is most likely going to be related to cross-platform development. That means that, of course, we are going to see lots of AI happening on the cloud and lots of AI happening on specialized services, not to mention the open source community like Hugging Face, but or like Hugging Face and many other platforms. But in addition to that, I feel that there's also big effort being made by companies like NVIDIA or other hardware providers that are going to focus more on on-premise solutions. So I think it's going to be a very interesting kind of hybrid solutions that we're going to see in the future. And with respect to LLM, I think we are going to see more LLMs in the future. Right now, the main focus is on the context manipulation or context absorbing capabilities of the LLMs. I think there seems to be some major advances at the moment, but I feel that in addition to that context enhancement, there will be some improvements in terms of having multimodal inputs and outputs. So instead of, we are already seeing this by announcements by OpenAI saying that besides having text inputs, you will also have the possibility to add pictures, videos, and so on, and that will be somehow processed as language. So I think there's going to be lots of new things in that front, and with a greater and greater context that's going to be super interesting to look in.
Yeah, I believe that part is like crazy evolving right now. Especially the announcement of Gemini being able to process up to 1 million tokens, even though that also plays in their favor because they will build a lot more, multiplying by that. But I also, and we can discuss on this because what you mentioned about the contextual like injection of information, I believe that's core to, or I consider that to be a new paradigm of developing an application itself. because the way that you have, that's a way of creating application itself, because everyone has their own context, everyone can inject whatever information, and the pipeline that you do, it reminds me of when you are creating a REST API. You create a REST API and you do it in a specific way, following endpoints, inputs and outputs in a similar way, and it's processed in a linear way with requests. I believe that RAG works, or augmented generation works in a similar way. Like you have and you can dive more on this, because you have your context, you will vectorize it, and then you have this search or this embedding retrieval, and then you will be able to do it. And this is a pipeline that can work for any model. What do you think about this?
No, I think that's, I totally agree with that, Victor. I feel that, on the one hand, RAG is very likely to become more powerful in the future. I mean, we've seen already some significant improvement by having different embedding techniques. So as you well mentioned, of course, RAG stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. So of course, the retrieval part relates mostly to this embedding part that you were mentioning at the beginning. And of course, the better we are at embedding content, the more we are able to enhance that generation part, and the better the results would be at the end. So I think that part is going to improve a lot. There are still some challenges from the RAG world, which are by now mostly solved by fine tuning, which is basically partially training LLMs or creating different instances of the same LLM that can, sort of feedback into each other or support each other. But I think the RAG itself will become much more powerful. And there are right now some very interesting papers talking about how to use computational graphs alongside LLMs, so that you can, let's say, support better semantic inference from LLMs. For example, when we see that sometimes LLMs have different issues when we refer to the same thing using different context. So they are not able to understand that. For example, if I talk to you using your first name, let's say Victor, or if I use your last name, or if I use Top Mentor as a reference, let's say, then an LLM might struggle to attach those labels to you. But with graphs, there is a possibility that that's going to be improved. And that's just one avenue that we can expect things to improve by. So I think, RAG is going to be more powerful. And of course, from a more applied perspective, having all these APIs and integration with different endpoints and Kubernetes, of course, which I know is one of your areas of interest, then of course it's something that we can only expect to see being more and more powerful down the line.
Yeah, I totally agree. We even cannot imagine what's going to be, because after all, ChatGPT has only been like for a year and something, and the amount of evolution we've got, it's crazy. So. But, for the audience to know, maybe we are talking about AI, and, maybe I said this guy is the chief data scientist, but maybe they want to learn more about who are you and what it's been your career to be up until this moment, and what are your interests that have been evolving during your career.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Victor. Yeah, so very quickly about myself. I'm originally from Colombia, which is why we both belong to the Spanish-speaking community, as you mentioned. And I moved to Norway in 2014 to do my PhD here in the University of Bergen. And my PhD is a combination of applied mathematics and computational game theory. So at that point, by the time I got here and started to work on my PhD, I had a master's degree from Colombia, and I already had some work experience related to data analytics and what we would now call data science. Of course, I think the data science term wasn't that famous back then. But then after I was almost finished with my PhD, I decided that I didn't want to continue in academia, because I realized that it wasn't for me. And then I decided to move into the private sector. So I started to work on consultancy companies, an electricity company, and now in a tech and consulting company, which is the one that I'm working on now. And yeah, so yeah, that's a little bit about myself. And yeah, so it's and regarding my areas of interest, besides AI and machine learning and software engineering and so on, I am also very passionate about mentorship and learning learning new stuff and being able to teach stuff to people.
Oh, that's great, and that's a very interesting career. I also when I started, my journey, I also, as everyone, started in college and then moved I also developed AI, but when it wasn't that trendy, mostly on image processing. So a lot of OpenCV, a lot of TensorFlow, and all of that for image processing. And it was like a very interesting topic to learn, even though I decided that I didn't want to continue it because it was a bit too mathematical, a bit too scientific for me. I am more like on the on the engineering side. Like I want to see things, and I helped a lot of scientific persons like PhDs and stuff deploy their actual models, which was a pain.
Well, yes.
Before in 2018 was more difficult to have. There wasn't that many of knowledge out there.
Mm-hmm.
We managed to deploy them with some Docker and some Kubernetes stuff.
Mm.
And then it was a great thing to know because I started with Python and it was similar. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is the thing that keeps you and attracts you the most of this field of knowledge, the data scientists and all these kind of AI related topics?
No, a great question, Victor. I think, yeah, I agree with you that things have become a little easier lately in terms of deploying models and so on. But on the other hand, the kind of problems that we are solving now are also much trickier, right? So, like,
yeah, I was identifying animals, so imagine.
it's like it's getting a bit easier on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's getting more complicated. But yeah, back to your question, and yeah, I think there are many things that keep me going in this field. I think one of the most interesting things is that you can see that AI and machine learning and data science in general, is starting to mature and evolve into a field that is impacting different fields. So, for example, like software engineering, like yeah, as you mentioned, the new way of creating applications, impacting how we deal with data architectures and how we design data platforms. And on top of that, I feel that there's always new approaches and new technologies that are coming up. So it's the kind of field that it not only growing on its own, impacting other fields, but it's also a field that in which you will never be a 100% expert in all the fields. Actually, I mean it's going extremely fast, and there's always new to learn. So I think having that feeling of always having something to do is very motivating for me.
Yeah, it tends to happen when there is a lot of investment in technical field, that there are a lot of people working, and there are a lot of people working in companies that have a lot of resources. Therefore, it's difficult to keep it up with the trends, and it's difficult to become the top of the top. So you can always have learning. People are always publishing papers, and especially on the deep learning kind of level, the mathematical side is once when you understand one, the next big release has been there, and it's crazy. So I wanted to to dive deep more about your career itself. Like, how did you evolve in your roles from being in PhD and this feeling of not belonging to the academia side that I can share as well, to what you are now as managing people, and how did you handle that?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Victor. I think okay, so let's recap. So I think at the very beginning, once when I was starting my career back in Colombia, I was already very much inclined towards analytic related roles and data processing roles. So I was already kind of following that path, so to speak. But then once I started to move into academia, I kind of continued on the same path. But of course, my initial expectation was to create something that was fully applied, like something that a tool, a methodology, or something that would help me to advance my career back then. But then, yeah, things happened, and I ended up doing something that was way more academic than I was expecting it to be. And by the time I was in my PhD, I was, of course, fully into academia, so I was barely thinking about practical applications and so on. But then I realized that some of the things that I was doing were kind of forcing me to think of applications in a very interesting way, which is that part of my PhD was about creating games, or no, sorry, creating or proposing game from a game theory point of view. And on the other hand, creating actual games, like games that not like full video games, of course, but let's say like simple games that people could interact with through their computers. And of course, creating those games, or formulating those game theory games, plus creating the actual games that people could play with, would actually, force me to become a better developer. So it forced me to, have some level of competency, to deal with databases and application development and testing and so on. Of course, at an academic level, which is, perhaps not the kind of demand that we see, or the level that we see in the industry, in the tech industry. But it was kind of, even though I was within academia 100%, I was slowly being pushed into applied development. And then once I decided to jump from academia to the industry, then I wasn't even sure what to look for. I wasn't sure, okay, so what kind of roles am I good for? What kind of profile do I have after these years in academia and doing what I've been doing? And then I found the data scientist, and many roles that were asking for data scientists. And I read the job description, and that was pretty much what I had been doing in my PhD and during my role at that time. So that, when I jumped first, then after spending some years in a consultancy company as a senior data scientist, I moved into an electricity company, which is the main electricity provider here in Norway. Then after some years there, I moved into my current company, which is one of the main tech and consultancy providers in Scandinavia or in the Nordics. And then I kind of moved from one place to the next, but I feel that the big moves were from academia to the industry first, then from being in the industry and moving into electricity, but I forgot to mention something, which is that I used to work in an electricity company back in Colombia. So I then ended up working in an electricity company here. So it was almost full circle, but in different countries. And then after I went from that electricity company to the company that I'm in now, then the next big step was to be able to take this kind of leadership position and being like in charge of a specific area of knowledge inside the company.
No, that's quite an interesting story. I know some data scientists that they are also working with electricity kind of related topics, all related to energy. I assume they have like lots of data to manage, and specifically on, I'm not sure how it works I assume it works similarly, but to get the bits properly for the energy of the next year. I believe that's where the money came around on the electricity. Apart from it's a commodity, of course, but that sector moves a lot of investment, and that way it makes a lot of data driven decisions to be required for electricity, because that buyouts, that prices will be key to the success of a company, and how to approach customers, and all related to sales and data driven decisions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that's exactly right. And I feel that sector has become super. I mean, it's important everywhere, of course, but I think it has become even more important here in Europe. Especially
Yeah.
after the war in Ukraine and so on, and after the electricity prices have spiked in recent years. Then, of course, but everyone in general, but I would say Europeans in particular are more aware of electricity prices at the moment. And on top of that, we also have lots of technology changes that have happened in recent years. More people have electric cars, and more people need to have a charging station or want to have a charging station at home.
Yeah.
So things like that. So I think the political or the global context plus the technological innovations are making this market even more prevalent in people's minds.
Yeah, and also with I wouldn't say the appearance, but the establishment of renewable energy, that now the investments are quite high and they are kind of more real than before. Let's say that 2008, which was more like a trend. And now it's like a real, if you want to put it, then you can do it easily. But then you have to invest a lot of money in that transition. So I believe that also in that sector, it's key to have the data to properly do it,
Okay.
apart from the permissions of the government. So I want to ask you more about maybe on your leadership side. So from working on different companies and from the evolution that you have in your career, what do you think are the some of the key features that a good leader in a team could have, independently of the leadership that level that it has?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think there are some very interesting. There are some very specific skills, Victor. I think I might even have a list somewhere that I made together with my best friend because he has a whole theory about where leadership is coming from. So I think I can send this to you once I find it, because it's a very interesting piece of
Yeah.
reflections and documentations about what a leadership or what a leader should be like, and what kind of attribute make up a good leader. But just to give you a quick answer, I think one of the main attributes of a good leader is to listen, to be able to listen to people that you're working with and that have something to say. So that's one of the major key things. So that by way of listening to them, you have their trust, and of course they know that they can trust you, and you know that you can trust them. So that relationship is extremely important. Also being passionate about your area, like being I mean, you don't have to know it all, of course, but being eager to learn, and being willing to learn, and being open to discussions, and open to corrections even, of course. Then it's a very good attribute. And on top of that, I think being aware of, or how to say, like being open to new possibilities in terms of what you can do. What I mean by that is that, of course, you need to be passionate about your knowledge and your area and so on, and be, let's say, convinced, or let's say, be happy with the people that you are working with. But on the other hand, being able to push yourself into other areas that you may not be so comfortable with can also be super interesting, because that can build trust in yourself as someone who's not protecting his ego or something like that, but someone who's actually willing to do something no matter the consequences, basically, or the consequences for our own ego, I should say. And on top of that, being someone who's able to talk to other people that may come from different backgrounds and different walks of life. So it would be so it would be easier to find commonalities and opportunities to do things together and so on. So I think that that openness, willingness to listen, and willingness to learn new stuff is the core of a good leader, I would say.
Yeah, that those are three core things. I believe that expanding yourself and being able to learn more skills, especially on the soft side, because we on the technical side, we sometimes lack, or we tend to avoid those, even though they are core, especially when you progress on the leadership board, and there are less technical decisions, even though you take the decision based on data and that side, but it's difficult to. There are more of the how you communicate the idea, how it's the identification of value. How do you make it work? Basically, sometimes it's not related to the technicalities that you may or may not know, but
Yeah.
rather than how do you enforce or how do you approach it in a way that is efficient and it's applicable for your team.
Really.
And another thing that you mentioned and we can discuss is that
Mhm.
how a leader can make their team shine, because sometimes I believe, and this is something I read lately, it was like you don't need to have a hero in your team, which is your leader that makes almost
Mhm.
everything, because it's a
Right.
bottleneck itself. Because that's substituted for whatever reason, like we are seeing massive layoffs in big tech
Mhm.
companies, or any small layoff that do, or he or she changing careers, then you have a problem in your company. And because you have to, I believe that in business, you have to make some that your company cannot be substituted, but anyone can be. Like it works almost alone, and you can switch the
Mhm.
pieces, and it should work almost alone. So, what do you think would be uh, good practices for leaders to be able to, enforce the team and make their team grow?
Okay, now that's an excellent question, Victor. And I totally agree with what you said previously, which is that sometimes we on the technical side tend to undervalue, or just tend to neglect growing as our soft skills, because we feel
Mhm.
that they are unnecessary or perhaps not so important for our line of work. But and I feel this is something that I've experienced as a mentor, and I'm sure that you have experienced this too,
Mm.
is that you have very talented people that are extremely good at what they do, but then they have lots of obstacles in their career or in their day-to-day work, because they can't communicate their ideas really well. So they keep kind of bumping into this wall of resistance and skepticism, because they have great ideas, but they are not able to communicate them effectively. So yeah, and no, in terms of team building, I think there's a combination of different things. I feel that, again, reinforcing these attitudes of listening and being able to be corrected and discussing and being making sure that no matter what you have to say, you would be listened to, and you will have a voice and let's say
Mm.
a place in every discussion that the team is taking, and that it's okay to ask something. If someone mentions a tool or an approach or whatever that you don't know or that you haven't heard before, then it's okay to say, "Hey, what is that?" So yeah, I
Yeah.
have no idea. So I think reinforcing that is or encouraging those attitudes is extremely important. And something that I found in my current company actually is that having this kind of healthy personal relationships goes a long way. What I
Mhm.
mean by that is that, of course, I mean, if you don't have to be best friends with all your coworkers if you don't want to, but being, having a good and kind of a polite relationship, or a friendly relationship with them, having some a cup of coffee with them every once in a while, and getting to know them a little bit as people, as individuals, or as human beings rather, then goes a long way in building trust and making it a lot easier to communicate than in a work environment. So I think that definitely helps.
Yeah, that I am also in the ship of making a lot of questions, even though you feel dummy. I my almost in my career will do that, because I tend to it sometimes it takes me more to understand it, and if I don't understand it and not don't make the connection, it's difficult for me to retain the information. That's why I invest a lot of time in learning processes and all that,
Well,
to be able to dive deeper into that, and also like asking question. I remember, especially with technicalities, you ask, and you should ask and again and again and again, because up until you it feels like whenever you make the connection, all goes back to the top concept, and then everything connects and you can make it work. If you just get with the top idea, you will forget it, because we do complex things at work, and you will forget it. That's also another topic that I want to discuss, and maybe this is some practice that I've been seeing lately online. It's like having this kind of Loom videos, well, as these small kind of tutorials. I believe I am kind of implementing that in my in my team, and I believe it's working really well because we do in technical parts, especially a lot of demos, a lot of we explain in a call and do whatever, but then 1 month later you don't recall that, and nobody wants to create docs. Let's be honest. Maybe now with AI, if you have AI available in your company, then you could done it a little bit faster. But we as programmers or technical people, we don't tend to write. So I believe that format, if you get the benefit of maybe mentoring in that side, it's like if you get more capabilities to be able to talk, be able to explain concepts, even though you don't have to be a YouTuber for doing that. But you just go to a small tutorial that is 3-4 minutes long, and then you can go ahead and explain any functionality for your team, and then you keep it recorded in Google Drive or OneDrive or whatever you have, and then everyone can check it. And if you have communication about this is the SharePoint or the OneDrive that we record everything, please upload anything that you have there. For my team especially, I believe it's working great because for sharing with the team works great because we have videos and then sessions are there. You want to check it. I do some cuts like important events, 3 minutes long. And then also with customers, it can work great because you will share 3 minutes of because they will ask you, how do I upload whatsoever, and you will record it and send it again. Like, no, there is a video there, and then you can build even a page for our video. So how do you think that could work for for teams and for knowledge sharing in a company, in contrast of like text written documentation?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, Victor. And I think, of course, there's always a place for documentation, like especially when it's an official service or something that the company has developed or something that is provided via third-party service. But I feel that these videos go a long way in onboarding people and in helping them do especially those things that are very easy to forget. Like you mentioned, for example, I remember not too long ago, we were struggling with a very simple task. I mean, because we both forgot how to do it in a project that we are working on at the moment. And it was related to an API authentication issue. And then one of our dear colleagues who's leading the software engineering group in the team came up with a quick presentation regarding API authentication as an event that we have every Monday called Lunch and Learn. So of course it was, so it's like, oh yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. So then, and of course, when you do it on a regular basis and you store these videos in a library, so that people can go and see, oh yeah, I wonder what this is. I wonder what can be of use here. Then I think it's a great idea. And I feel that I don't see it as a competition actually. I mean, I don't see it as an either written documentation or videos. I think they can really complement each other. And I feel that, the big, this extreme growth of platforms like Udemy and even YouTube and, Coursera and DataCamp and many others, alongside different platforms and the never-ending tradition of having written documentation shows us that there is room for both and that we can learn from both very effectively.
Yeah, I totally agree, and this is a trend that I've been seeing lately, and I think it's really positive. But also like written documentation, as it works, especially when you have landing pages and all of that for documentation and client. So I'm moving on to a different topic, and the topic that we both meet on. It's the mentoring side. So I wanted to ask you, like, how did you started on mentoring, and what's your common approach when you have like your new mentee, and how do you plan ahead a new mentorship?
Okay, perfect. So let's see. I think I started to mentor back in 2020. Yes, right before the pandemic. Yeah, that's. I always remember that the moment I was supposed to start to work 100% from home, then that's more or less the. I don't know. I think I started mentoring
Good
there
timing.
day after that or 2 days after that. Then yeah, so I started there. Of course, my first experience was. I mean, and I'm still associated with them, with a company from the US, which is specialized in many different curriculums for data science, data engineering, machine learning, and so on. And back then, so I think my job or my first introduction as to the mentorship role or the mentorship profession, to put it like that, was mostly about guiding students to go through a very specific curriculum. My first job was to be able to to know the curriculum really well and to make sure that I was able to explain it and guide them to week in and week out so that they can so that they could go through the entire curriculum without major problem. So I think in my view, given that coming from the academic world, it felt very familiar because it felt almost like a university setup, in which you go to classes, you answer questions, and you have a curriculum that you have to follow. So I think it wasn't until recently that I joined the same platform that it own now, and that I started to have all kinds of students from different backgrounds and with very different ambitions, with no curriculum whatsoever. And thankfully, by the time I started, I was mature enough as a mentor, so that I was able to take that challenge and say, okay, so now I'm going to get all kinds of different students, all kinds of different backgrounds. I will do my best to get to know them and create like customized curriculums for all of them. And by curriculum, I don't mean like I have to produce an entire university program to for every one of them, but just a reasonable plan that okay, so this is where you are, this is your background, this is where you want to go. So the steps that we should follow are these ones, and what I suggest is that we do this, and then we do that, and so on. And then I discussed it with the mentees, and I've been using that approach since ever since last year, since I made this kind of transition to this other type of mentorship, and it's working really well. But I think it also comes back to what we talked about regarding leadership. I think that approach works insofar as you are willing to listen and to, well, in this case, to read first, because they send me some information first.
Yep.
To willing to read first, then be able to, or be willing to listen, create a proposal to the best of your knowledge and best of your abilities, and then be open to comments from the students, because there might have been something that I misunderstood, or maybe I made some assumptions that the mentee is not 100% in agreement with. So yeah, so just having that eagerness or willingness to negotiate and to discuss the mentorship proposal is I think is the key of my mentorship style at the moment.
No, that's great, and I agree with that approach, that you need to get some information from the mentee so you can build a personalized curriculum for them, even though after all you get some shared patterns that you can follow, and it will make your life easier for managing them, but also you are personalizing it to the workloads that they have, and also because each person is different, and you can help them in a lot of different ways, either from both practical projects to more like researching stuff, or how to approach, I don't know, maybe in your case, more on the research kind of PhD area, which is totally different from building that I'm used to do. Like, okay, we build a project, we want to see it deployed, how it's working, how it's not, let's not run our budget, all of these things. So since you have like this varied career as a mentor, and I believe that you have some experience there, what advice would you give to someone that is thinking about, maybe on their senior levels as a developer or as a tech or professional or non-tech professional, and they're thinking, okay, I may start something, on my own, or thinking about mentoring? What advice would you give them in terms of, starting this career?
Okay. No, that's great, Victor. And I think, right now I'm thinking of a specific mentee that is going through that transition at the moment. So I think I feel my best advice there is to, one, be very clear on what you are going to do. Like, play your strengths and play your cards really well, so that you know that you will be in your comfort zone, basically, or working with something that you feel very confident with. In addition to that, something that is extremely important or extremely helpful is to have a community around you. People that you can go to, people that trust you, people that know you, and people that you can ask questions to, and just have them as resources or sparring partners. Like, hey, I'm thinking of building this or building that, and I'm thinking of this tech stack, for example. What do you think? Am I missing something? Am I following best practices, for example, or just have someone that could criticize your ideas? Because I feel that especially with senior engineers, Victor, I think senior engineers tend to know what they can do. They are confident in what they know. They, of course, the communication part can vary a lot. There are some senior engineers that are confident explaining their ideas, and some others that don't want to do anything like that whatsoever. But I think something that can be very risky for senior professionals is that they start to do their own thing, and then they get into this monologue kind of situation in which they start to solve a problem on their own. They don't talk to anyone. They just believe whatever they are thinking. They avoid any discussion whatsoever. They treat themselves as someone that is supposed to receive a request, get an answer right away, and deploy something at the end without any consideration or anything like that. So I feel that having some sort of community, colleagues, conferences and meetups, and even Slack communities work really great in that respect. Or of course, having mentors or people like that can support you, can really help you to at least make sure that you're not believing your own misperceptions in a way, or that you're not just blindly following your intuition without having anyone that can contradict your points of view, or that can make you realize your mistakes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that having support from someone else would be a great thing to have, because you if you feel like sometimes you feel overwhelmed trying to help that many people, and having someone that help you build maybe some standardized procedure, or should I do this, should I do that, because we all have doubts, and we shouldn't be like totally close to our mind, and we should be open, but up until a point where you just don't, because that's something that I accept for myself. Like, I try new things, and now in my that I'm older, I will I try, but with carefulness, because otherwise it's like another new thing to learn. I even though I am open to learning, like, I take it with okay, if this works, great. If it doesn't, then I will discard it easily, because I cannot lose. There is the amount of tools that you can have out there. It happens in DevOps, like there is a new tool every week.
Oh yeah.
But then if you have to learn everything, then you will, after all, learn almost nothing. So yeah, I believe those are great tips. And so for someone that maybe is also starting that, what advice could you give for those moments that you feel a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of people that you could have, and how you have dealt with those peaks?
Oh yeah, that's extremely important, and I think that's also something that I've learned in the past few years, which is through experience mostly. But I think that what really works for me is to be able to organize my time to the best of my abilities. And so, for example, instead of having tasks spread out throughout the day or throughout the week, having specific sets or let's say parts of my calendar locked for specific tasks, can really help me so that I can, I don't need to think of things that I need to do because I already know that that's on my calendar. So, and whenever I get a notification, I will get on and do the thing that I need to do. So that's a peace of mind that I kind of always get whenever I, as long as I have this structure in my calendar and in my head. And last but not least, Victor, I think at least for me, the one super important thing is to have a different hobby. So, for instance, of course, in my case, is of course a big part of that is my family life with my wife and my soon-to-be son or daughter, because I'm going to be a dad in November.
Congrats on that.
Thank you very much. So yeah. And then, but besides that, of course, having other hobbies like, in my case, the reading or playing the different sports or going to, working out or doing something in the house or something like, whatever it can be or whatever it might be, depending on the person, but having things that will take your mind off the things that we do on a daily basis and will make you or will set you a different set of goals. Like, for example, if you like to play tennis, for example, then improving as a tennis player, it will also kind of get you that feeling of satisfaction without, and by at the same time allowing you to rest from the other stuff. So I think that's extremely important.
Yeah. I also share that for example, now this year I started doing jiu-jitsu. It's very difficult to think in other things when you are fighting somebody else, almost through your life, or someone is like grabbing your neck. It's difficult to think about. I have some problems with my mentee. You are trying to survive. So, I encourage that type of activities, whatever is, you like to do, you should do it to just off your mind, because if you are working too much, maybe you are not being that efficient. So you need to stop sometimes and think about better approaches. So just to wrap up, it's been great to having you here, and I want to let the audience know where they can find you and what are you doing out of your your another platform. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Victor. So you guys can. Thank you very much for having me here. I think this has been a great conversation. I think we talked about many very interesting topics. We still have plenty to go, so we can definitely do another episode whenever you want. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn and also on Mentor Cruise. I'm mentoring there, and I have some very interesting students and different experiences that you can read there. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me, either Mentor Cruise or LinkedIn is totally fine, and I'm always happy to meet new people and people that are interested in these topics or any other topic for that matter. So I will be happy to talk to anyone there.
Yeah, that's great, and I can recommend you to, if someone is learning some data scientist AI stuff or want to check other of your skills, you are very available and very willing to to chat as you can. So yeah, thanks a lot again for being here, and yeah, see you in probably round 2.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you, Ricker. Looking forward to that.